Okay, everybody, I've got a photo here. I've had a few requests over the last year or so to show kind of how my editing style works. I really kind of Matt Hernandez is a big hero of mine. That's kind of who I've modeled my look after. So you might see some similarities there. But this is kind of how I go about it. So we have a senior photo here. This is raw. This is kind of straight out of camera. There's no edits done to it. This is pretty much straight out of camera. So we have a couple things here to think about. Number one, getting him kind of on these third lines. Okay, rule of thirds is in play here. It's going to do a couple things for us. So I'm going to crop this in for a couple reasons. Okay, I'm going to try to crop it in to get him over here on this third along with this, but I want to leave this light in. I could crop it in more and really get him there like so, but I really want to try to get that light in there if I can. Okay, so yeah, we'll back up a little bit. Um, and there's kind of another thing here. We have, of course, you can see some of my light here. This is the flash that I used, one of the flashes here to try to light him up. Okay, so we also kind of want to, get rid of that if we can easily. So a little trick I'm going to use. I know I shot this in 2x3, but I'm gonna crop in. I don't want to cut off his feet. I want to try to leave the home plate down here in there as well. Just kind of storytelling. Okay, and then we'll try to heal this light right now. We'll see how it goes. Okay, and you kind of move this around, or maybe we just we start all the way over. So let me get my deal a little bigger here, get more of that. Let's see what happens here. Actually, what we're going to do is finish our color edits. In this Photoshop, for some reason, man, it heals that kind of stuff way better than Lightroom does. So let's just move along to kind of our get our color edits a little closer. I've got another little color edit I do, but these are kind of the basic ones to get it pretty close to where I want. Okay, trying to just kind of again make that background a little darker. I really want to bring out these clouds. This is the way the natural clouds. I did not sky replace this. So we're trying to get that a little bit there. Sometimes I like to go Adobe Portrait kind of color. Seems to kind of bring out a little bit more things. But the rest of this I really want dark. And we're going to do some more stuff, but let's kind of get our colors. I'm going to up the vibrance a little bit, maybe kind of mess. I want a little cooler on my temp. Okay, and we can bring that down a little bit more, get a little S curve in there for more dynamicness, I like to say. A little clarity, little texture. So again, this is just a basic edit, kind of getting it, maybe bring those midtones up just a smidge. Okay, about right there. That's pretty good. Not doesn't need a whole lot right now. Okay, so now let's go into Photoshop. We'll edit this in Photoshop some more. So now this is really where I do the healing just because it always seems to work better. So we got a few things here to take care of. Okay, we got this little spot here. Okay, and we're just using that generative AI. So let's see. Let's work on this light now. Let's see what we can get there. See how good this is going to do. That's better. Another thing we can kind of do is get a little bit of the healing brush tool to maybe kind of help. Let's see how we can do. Oh yeah, that's way better. Way better right there. If you want a little more dark in there, boom. Dunsky, that's pretty good. It's okay to kind of have a little bit of flare there. It kind of gives it a little natural feel, like maybe some light is really coming over there from like one of the other stadium lights. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom in here. We're going to get some of these spots, kind of some of these poles down here, which you can use the wires and cable, but this is really so small, I don't think it'll pull it up. But and we can barely even see these, but still, I want to kind of get rid of any distractions back here. If you kind of have any kind of brighter spots of white, maybe vehicles back there, it's kind of a good thing to get rid of those. It just helps you out. And man, there's barely a highline wire there, but it's still there. So we'll kind of take a peek around. Anything back here? Something a little bit right there. We probably could kind of come in, take those away. No, not like that. You know what? To me, it's kind of messing that up. It's not worth it. Like that, to me, that's not distracting enough. Maybe this pole here, a little bit coming off the leg. Anything that comes out of a leg or something like that, of a head, I really try to fix if I can. Okay, so we've kind of got, man, we're cleaning up pretty good. The idea here, again, is we want every eye to go right to the subject. Again, that's kind of why I like shooting, flash like this, really, underexposing the background, because it really just makes the focus your subject, and that's what we want. We want people looking at that, and they will when you do it like this. So now for kind of my second color edit. This is something I picked up from Matt Hernandez again. This is called lab mode, L-A-B. There's like an L channel, an A channel, and a B channel. And you'll see what I mean. I've got an action set up here Matt Hernandez has a video on how to do this. This is where I got it from him. But it's just it kind of changes the way the colors are viewed. And it simplifies it in a way. Instead of RGB, this is LAB. So you have like a lightness channel, an A channel, which is like your greens and reds, or your magenta and pinks, I guess. And then you have a B channel, which is your yellows and blues. So I'm going to hit my action. You'll see it duplicates, and it automatically creates some curves layers for us for adjustment. And now we're really going to kind of give it more. I'm going to give it another little bit of an S curve. And I like I always throw a little this gives it a little matte finish here. Always like that. It kind of seems to, I don't know, kind of soften the blacks up just a little bit. So I like that. Now, second layer is we're going to go up here. We're going to change it to the A channel, and you'll see what I mean. See the greens coming in here. It's kind of going to give it an S curve with the greens. I don't want to pull the greens too down. I really want those reds to pop. So I'm going to kind of bring those up maybe a little bit more. I'm going to go to the B channel. Bring those blues in the shadows and yellows in the highlights a little bit more. Again, if you're not familiar, kind of blues and yellows are really good action-y colors. If you think a lot about action movies, specifically like the movie Transformers, any people who remember that movie, it's kind of a favorite movie of mine, but there was so many blue tones and orange tones in that movie. The coloring was a lot of that, because that's, Michael Bay does that a lot. Those are good action colors. It just kind of gives it grittiness. So I shoot a lot of sports and senior sports, and so I throw a lot of those. Matt Hernandez does that, and I do it too, and I think that's why he does it, because they're just good action. It kind of gives it more action-y feel. So, and I kind of like the blues to be a little stronger than the yellows. So now we're going to see, I'm going to group these so we can turn them all off. You can kind of see the difference here. Let me hide this here. So that was our first round of coloring, and here's our second round. This is really where the color pops. I was really happy whenever Matt did this video, because it was kind of the last piece of the puzzle for me. Like my colors just weren't where I wanted them to be, and this was for me kind of the big reason why, because I was not doing this. So this is a great little thing to do. And hey, maybe you're like, man, that's a little too much blue, and I kind of think that right now. It just kind of, so we're going to come and lower the blue a little bit, maybe make it not as strong. And again, I kind of do that just to I'll kind of really toggle this on and off to do that. All right, man, but that's pretty close. We're going to call that good. Okay, and we've got one more step to do. But I'm gonna save this. So we go Command E to collapse everything, Command A to select it all, Command C to copy. Because if you notice, it made a whole nother project or artboard, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna put it back on top. So again, you kind of see the difference. Boom, boom. Okay, and we'll collapse that again, or combine that all again. And we're gonna X out. We're gonna save it, and it should go. Once it saves, we'll go back to Lightroom. and it should pull it in here in just a second. We'll see, it should come up down here. Yep, there it is. You notice it's now a TIFF file instead of just a raw, Canon RAW 3. So it's a TIFF file. So from here, I mean, we are almost done. Some things you could still fine tune it here, like maybe his, his white pants are really a little extra bright. So I'm going to bring a brush in here and really kind of maybe try to bring those highlights down just a little bit, just to take a little focus off of down here. And we want the focus up here on his face, right? So again, the brightest part of an image gets the attention. So yeah, we're going to bring that down a little bit. You don't want it to look obvious, but you want to trick the eye. You want to trick people's eye. They won't know the difference there. Okay, so that's pretty good. I like where this is all headed. So we're going to export this now. Okay. So JPEG, because I'm going to do some healing now. You may be wondering, like, why didn't you fix the skin or anything? Which we don't need to a whole lot in this photo because he's so small. But I'm still going to do it anyway. I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to export this photo. Okay, and the last thing that I do is we're going to come here. I'm going to use this program called Evoto. If you haven't heard of this, oh my goodness, it's a complete game changer. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to go get our file. I could have exported as a TIFF and uploaded as a TIFF in here, but most of these files for me aren't going to be very big. So because I sell a lot of albums with seniors, and so this isn't going to be on a huge canvas or anything like that. So we're going to come in here, and you can further color adjust if you want. If you kind of start looking at it again and realizing like, oh man, I kind of gave it too much this or too much that. You can definitely come in here and still mess with that a little bit. But let's go to the healing. So we're just going to, freckle acne heal, which you can't really see much. Body blemish, kind of check all these. Reduce face shine. Let's see what that does. If you notice, you got those options up here. If you have multiple people in there, something to be aware of. Let's go reduce face shine. Let's see what it does there. And you can hold spacebar to kind of see the before and after. Let's see. No glasses. Again, not a lot to fix here. So let's go to skin retouching. There we go. That got it. So you kind of see, you just need it a little bit. Again, since we're so far away. So we're going to call that good. I'm going to export, and I do this in a folder, retouch. I'm going to designate it. Okay, so I'm just going to send it there. Yeah, we'll boom there. Now this, I'm going to limit file size to something like 4 meg. That's still plenty big for what we're doing. You can set that, you can do 100% if you want. It's completely up to you. Okay, so exporting now, you can see, it'll show that to you. It shouldn't take too long. Bam, it's already done. Fully edited photo. You could probably do some more stuff to it if you want, but I like it right there. Job done. Thanks for watching.